All right. Let's get back into the scary stories. We got my fire lookout, Yellowstone. Something in these woods should exist. We got horror 15 minutes left. This is from the Somcast story. It's so far good. If you haven't seen, or if you're liking the story and don't want to just jump in, go back to part one, and I'll start part one by that's it.
Which seemed impossibly loud in the sudden quiet. I realized I was still holding the radio in one hand and the flashlight in the other, both pointed at the empty space where Tyler had been standing 30 seconds earlier. My survival instincts finally broke through the shock. I clicked off the flashlight and stood in the darkness, listening for any sound that might tell me where the thing had gone. Nothing. But I could feel it out there, watching me from somewhere just beyond the edge of perception.
Fellow humans, let us give you our power. Soon, you will become unable to resist this intoxicating power.
Hey, wake up.
Wake up, bitch.
Yay. Crawl out of one hole and into another.
You want to tell me what's going on here?
Americano, see? Now what brings a bloke like you to this part of the world? Oh, hey, easy, whoever you are.
Name's Leon. Came here looking for this girl. Seen her?
What, are you supposed to be a cop or something?
A call.
Nah, you don't look the type.
Maybe.
Okay, let me guess. She's the president's daughter?
That's too good for a guess. Want to start explaining?
Psychic powers. Nah, just kidding with you, amigo. I overheard one of the villagers talking something about the president's daughter in the church.
And who might you be?
Me llamo Luis Serra. I used to be a cop in Madrid. But now I'm just a good-for-nothing guy who happens to be quite a ladies' man.
Why'd you quit?
Phew, policia. You put your life on the line. Nobody really appreciates you enough for it. Being a hero isn't what it's cracked up to be anymore.
Used to be a cop myself. Only for a day, though.
I thought I was bad.
Somehow I managed to get myself involved with the incident in Raccoon City on my first day in the force.
That is the incident with the viral outbreak, right? I think I might have seen a sample of the virus in a lab at the department.
Hey boy, I'm not dying.
Do something, cop!
After you.
Now!
Cop 2. First, right? Yeah. Where you going? Back here. Oh.
It's Leon. Sorry I couldn't get in touch sooner, but I was a bit tied up.
You're okay, right?
I'm fine. There was a male civilian held captive. According to him, Ashley's in a church somewhere.
What happened to him?
He managed to escape.
Do you have a fix on the location of that church?
No, but apparently there's a secret passage in the village that leads there. I'm heading back to the village.
Over here, stranger.
Here.
I took one careful step backward, then another, testing each step to make sure I didn't snap a branch or kick a rock. The trail back to Tower 7 stretched behind me through 2 miles of dark forest, but it was the only chance I had. Whatever had taken Tyler might still be hunting, and standing here in the open made me an easy target. I turned around and started walking back the way I'd come, moving as quietly as I could manage while fighting the urge to run. Behind me, the forest remained.
Got something that might interest you. Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger. What are you selling? Is that all, stranger? Thank you. Is that all, stranger? I'll buy it at a high price. Thank you. Welcome. What are you selling? Is that all, stranger? Thank you. Is that all? Thank you. Is that all? Thank you. Is that all, stranger? Thank you. Come back anytime. What are you buying? Is that all, stranger? Thank you.
Space. come back.
Silent, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was following.
Insomnia stories,
Staying
baby.
just out of sight while I made my way home through the darkness. I
What
climbed
are
the
you
metal stairs to
selling?
Tower 7 faster than I'd ever moved before, my boots clanging against each
Is
step
that
in a
all,
rhythm that
stranger?
matched my racing thoughts.
Thank you.
Every few seconds I looked back at the tree line, expecting to see that pale figure come out from the shadows. But the forest stayed still. The radio crackled against my belt as I fumbled with the cabin keys, my hands shaking badly enough that it took 3 tries to get the door unlocked. Once inside, I slammed the door and immediately turned the deadbolt, then moved around the small space, checking every window ledge. The tower cabin had been built for isolation and weather resistance, with thick log walls and heavy-duty hardware on all the openings. I tested each window lock twice, pulling on the frames to make sure they were secure. The space that had felt like a sanctuary for 3 years now felt like a trap 40 feet above the ground. I grabbed the radio and keyed it with more force than necessary. Base, this is Walker. Emergency situation. I need immediate backup at Tower 7. Sarah's voice came back steady but concerned. Walker, we have units en route to your last known position. What's your status? The hiker I found is dead. There's something else out here, something that killed him. I'm barricaded in the tower and I need armed backup now. A pause that lasted too long. Walker, can you describe the threat? I looked out the northwest window of the dark forest where Tyler had died less than an hour ago. How could I describe what I'd seen? The pale figure that moved wrong, the sounds Tyler had made as he was torn apart, the way the thing had appeared and disappeared like it was part of the darkness itself. Unknown animal, large, aggressive, and still in the area. How long until backup arrives? Units are having difficulty with the access roads. Estimated arrival time is approximately 2 hours. 2 hours. I looked around the cabin at walls that suddenly didn't seem thick enough, and windows that felt too exposed. The creature had killed Tyler in seconds, moved faster than anything that size should have been able to move. But it was an animal, and animals couldn't climb metal towers. The height would keep me safe until help arrived. I pulled my service weapon from its holster and checked the magazine. 15 rounds of standard ammunition, which had never felt like such a small number. I'd drawn the gun exactly twice in 3 years of range one, both times to scare off aggressive bears. Whatever had killed Tyler was no bigger. I set the weapon on the desk with an easy reach and tried to settle into the routine of the radio. The radio stayed active with occasional check-ins from patrol units reporting their slow progress through the muddy back roads. I gave Sarah updates every 15 minutes, confirming my position and status, looking around the tree line for any sign of movement. The forest remained quiet. Normal night sounds gradually returned as the time stretched past 3. A distant call went out, wind moving through the pine branches, faint sound of Cedar Creek flowing somewhere in the darkness. Whatever had killed Tyler seemed to move. Maybe following some animal instinct to put distance between itself and the scene of its attack. I was starting to convince myself that the worst was over when I heard Tyler's voice. Mason. Mason, are you up there? The words drifted up from somewhere near the base of the tower, clear enough that I could make out every syllable. I moved to the window and peered down. The shadows were too deep to see anything at ground level. Mason, please help me. I got away, but I'm hurt bad. I need help. Every muscle in my body went tight. I'd watched Tyler die. I'd heard the sounds. Something tore him apart, just beyond the range of my flashlight. The voice calling my name from the darkness below belonged to a dead man. I know you're up there, Mason. I can see the light in your window. Please. I'm bleeding and I can't make it much longer. The voice was wrong. It carried Tyler's words and tone. But something was missing. The emotion, the natural rhythm of human speech. It sounded flat, mechanical, like someone reading lines off a script without understanding what they meant. I picked up the radio, keeping my voice as quiet as possible. Base, this is Walker. The threat has returned to my location. Do not send ground units. Repeat, do not send ground units until I give the all clear. Copy, Walker. Are you secure in your position? Before I could answer, something hit the base of the tower hard enough to make the entire structure shake. The impact came from directly below, followed by the sound of metal grinding against metal. I grabbed my flashlight and pointed it down toward the base, but the beam couldn't reach through the darkness underneath the platform. Another impact, stronger this time. The whole tower swayed slightly, enough that I had to brace myself against the desk. Whatever was down there was testing the supports, checking for weak spots with careful precision. Mason, why won't you help me? I thought we were friends. The voice had moved. Now it came from the opposite side of the tower, near the stairs I'd climbed 20 minutes earlier. But I hadn't heard footsteps, hadn't heard anything except the impacts against the support beams. A new sound started up, the screech of metal being bent under tremendous force. One of the tower's cross braces was giving way, the steel making noise as something twisted it beyond its design limits. I felt the floor tilt slightly to the left as the support structure began to fail. The thing wasn't just trying to get up there, it was bringing the entire town down. I grabbed my gear bag and the radio, shoving the flashlight and first aid kit inside while keeping the service weapon in my free hand. The tower shook again, and I heard the distinctive crack of a main support beam beginning to fail. The whole structure was going to collapse within minutes, taking me down with it unless I found another way out. The northwest window faced away from the stairs and offered a view of the forest cover about 15 feet below the cabin level. Pine branches thick enough to support my weight, if I could reach them. I unlocked the window and pushed it open. Cold night air rushing into the cabin along with the scent of pine needles, and something else. The sweet, rotting smell that made my stomach turn. You can't hide from me forever, Mason. I know where you are. Tyler's voice came from directly outside the window now. Even though the ground was 40 feet below and there was nothing to climb on this side of the tower. I leaned out carefully and saw pale fingers wrapped around the window frame, attached to an arm that bent in too many places. The thing was climbing the outside wall of the tower, moving up the smooth log surface like it had claws or suction cups built into its skin. I didn't think. I just aimed the service weapon at those fingers and pulled the trigger. The gunshot exploded in the small space, leaving my ears ringing. The pale hand jerked away from the window, and I heard something large crash through the tree branches below. Black fluid splattered across the window frame where the fingers had been, thick and gooey like motor oil. I put away the weapon and climbed through the window without looking down, trusting my weight to the heavy pine branch that bent but held. The rough bark scraped against my jacket as I worked my way along the branch toward the tree trunk, moving as fast as I dared while listening for sounds of pursuit. Behind me, the tower cabin exploded inward with a crash of broken wood and shattered glass. Something roared with a sound like tearing metal, and I heard the systematic destruction of everything inside the cabin. Furniture turned over, equipment smashed, walls punched through with violent efficiency. I reached the tree trunk and half climbed, half fell to the forest floor, landing hard.
Nuestro jefe se cuidará de la rata. Si la plaga es mucho mejor que la nuestra. Tienes razón.
You carry the same blood as us, it seems. Nevertheless, you're an outsider. Just remember, if you become unpleasant to our eyes, you'll face severe consequences.
What? Same blood.
Blood. Right, chapter 2.
Leon, I've been able to get some new info that might help you.
Fill me in.
Apparently, there's a religious cult group involved. They're called the Los Illuminados.
Los Illuminados. That's a mouthful. Anyway, I had an unexpected run-in with the big cheese of this village.
But you're okay, right?
Yeah, but he could have killed me, but he let me live. And he mentioned something about me carrying the same blood as them. Whatever that means.
Carry the same blood. Huh. Interesting.
Anyway, there are more important things than solving riddles right now.
You're right. Hurry and find that church, Leon.
Find that church, Leon. The healthiest. Bad. Too bad.
¡Os voy a romper a pedazos! ¡Ah! ¡Os voy a romper a pedazos!
This is here. Right in the bum. Only here. Come out.
Ugh! Got something that might interest you. Got a selection of good. What are you selling?
It's
Is that all, stranger? Thank you. 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 I'll buy it at a high price. Thank you. I'll buy it. Thank you. What are you buying? What are you buying?
On my shoulder, but keeping it my game. The tower continued to shake and grow as the thing took out its rage on my former safe place, tearing apart the place where I'd spent 3 years of great nights. Mason, Tyler's voice came from inside the open cabin, perfectly calm. Mason, where did you go? I just want to talk. I ran into the forest without looking back, following the trail I remembered. The sounds of destruction, wave, branches whipped across my face and ripples caught on hips. But I kept moving deeper into the darkness, where something that was a dead man's voice flew toward me 40 feet above the ground. The last thing I heard from the forest other sounds was that pounding voice still calling my name. Patient and stubborn as it searched through the wreckage of my foot. My boots hit the forest floor, catching on loose and loose rocks that I couldn't see in the dark. I'd been moving for what felt like hours, following game trails and fireworks by mountain against them, putting as much distance as possible between myself and the town. Every few minutes I flicked on the flashlight just enough to get my bearings, then turned it off again before whatever was hunting me would track the light. The gear bag bounced against my back with each step, and my shoulder hurt where I'd hit the ground climbing up the pine tree. Blood from my guts and my face had dried into my skin from my jaw. But I kept running because stopping meant thinking about what I'd seen. About Tyler's voice coming from something that definitely wasn't Tyler. Branches hit my jacket and caught my sleeves as I pushed through stands of young, much more pine. The forest went on forever in all directions, mile after mile of wilderness that had felt like protection during my years of tower duty, but now seemed like a maze designed to trap me with whatever was following me. I'd lost track of which direction I was heading, focused only on moving forward with the need to keep going until sunrise would help my exhaustion made the choice for me. My legs started shaking somewhere around the 4th mile. The rush that had carried me through the tower collapsed and the initial escape was wearing off, leaving behind the reality that I'd been running uphill through rough country for most of the night. My breathing came in harsh gasps that seemed impossibly loud in the wonderful forest, and my vision started going spotty around the edges. I stumbled into a small clearing, and I came down through a gap in the trees, providing enough light to see fallen homes and scattered boulders. My left knee gave out without warning, sending me crashing against the trunk of a massive darkness and dug this floor. I slid down the rough bark until I was sitting on the ground with my back pressed against the tree, chest heaving as I tried to catch my breath. The forest around the clearing was completely silent. No wind, no animal sounds, nothing except my own labored breathing, and the distant whisper of water flowing somewhere with darkness. I fumbled for my radio and pressed the button with fingers that wouldn't stop shaking. Base. This is Walker. I'm approximately 6 miles northeast of town, still mobile but need immediate backup. The static answered me. I tried again, adjusting the frequency, but got nothing except electronic snow. I was too far from the main communications array or something was interfering with the signal. Either way, I was on my own until I could reach underground and get closer to one of the relay stations scattered throughout the sector. I closed my eyes and focused on slowing my breathing, trying to ignore the way every shadow seemed to move directly.
Hunnigan, it's Leon. The door's locked. I can't get in.
Didn't they teach you how to pick locks at the academy?
Yeah. There's some sort of indentation, like something might fit inside.
Well, there's no use standing around. Leon, you have to find some way or something to get inside.
Something or someone. Blah. Tick butters. Right. Ow.
Got a selection of... What are you selling? Is that all, stranger? Thank you. What are you buying? voy a romper a pedazos! ¡Agárrenlo! ¡Agárrenlo! ¡Detrás de ti, imbécil! ¡Un forastero!
Sorry, explain that story.
The creature had destroyed my tower and chased me for miles. But it was still just an animal. Animals got tired, lost interest, moved on to easier prey. I just needed to stay hidden until morning while search teams and enough daylight to make tracking easy. That's when I heard it moving through the tree. The sounds came from multiple directions at once. Branches breaking to my left, footsteps circling around behind the clearing, the soft whisper of something large pushing through the bushes. But the movement was wrong. Too deliberate, too coordinated. Whatever was out there was taking its time, making sure I knew it was closing in. Mason. Tyler's voice drifted across the clearing from somewhere with the tree. The same flat, motionless tone I'd heard outside the tower window. But now I could hear something else underneath. A wet, rasping, like someone talking with their mouth full of blood. Mason, why are you hiding from me? I thought we were going to help each other. I drew my service weapon and tried to track the voice, but it seemed to come from different locations each time. First from the trees directly ahead, then from my left, then from somewhere behind me that should have been impossible to reach.
Shit. Vámonos. Ok, ándale.
Vámonos.
Without me hearing huge footsteps. I'm hurt, Mason. I need a friend to help me get him. The voice was getting closer, moving through the forest with the patient persistence of something that knew its prey was trapped. I pressed myself tighter against the tree trunk and tried to control my breathing, but every muscle in my body was locked with tension that made staying quiet almost impossible. Something stepped into me at the edge of the clearing. For a moment, my brain tried to process what I was seeing this time. The same height, the same basic build, the same browning. But then the details started registering, and I understood why every instinct I possessed was screaming at me to run. The thing standing 30 feet away was wearing Tyler like an ill-fitting costume, stretching his features across a frame that was fundamentally wrong. It stood almost 7 feet tall, though that height came from limbs that had been pulled, extended beyond human proportions, arms that hung down past its knees, attached to shoulders that were too narrow and positioned too high on its torso, legs that bent in too many places, giving it a stance that kept it balanced on the balls of its feet like it was ready to spring forward at any moment. The skin was the worst part. Tyler's face had been stretched across a skull that was the wrong shape, creating a permanent grin that split his features from ear to ear. The mouth was too wide, filled with teeth that started moving in front but became increasingly sharp toward the back, creating rows of points that caught the moonlight like broken glass. The eyes were Tyler's eyes, but they reflected light like an animal's, and they never blinked. There you were, it said in Tyler's voice, though the words came out distorted by that massive grin. I've been looking everywhere for you. The creature started walking toward me with a smooth motion that ignored normal joint limitations. Its arms swayed back and forth like pendulums, and its head tilted at an angle that would have broken a human neck. Every step was perfectly silent. Its feet were silent.
Swam. Yeah, right. You enjoyed the ride. Yeah, I can.